There are a lot of people that are fearful of AI because in all actuality, we've been seeing a progression for a long time of, self-service scanners at your supermarkets. When you check into an airline flight, it's no longer a customer service representative. Basic entry-level work, which is where a lot of us got started. If you're an immigrant, a lot of the immigrant family's first job is at a supermarket. How do you innovate? You need to look at what's going on around you, and you need to be able to participate in what's going on around you. Within all that, the Homeless Trust was passed. It was voted on by our community members. And as part of the Homeless Trust, Chapman Partnership was established. Chapman Partnership, we operate 2 homeless assistance centers in Miami-Dade County. One in downtown Miami, one in Homestead, and every night we have 800 clients that are staying with us.
Welcome to 305 Office Podcast Business Intelligence. And did you know that thousands of families in Miami face homelessness every year? But there's an organization that gives them not just shelter, but a new beginning. Today, you'll hear how community partnerships and leadership can turn despair into opportunity. Stay tuned. The story will change the way you see business impact and success. So this episode, don't forget, is brought to you by Zoho, your all-in-one business operating system, and Wise Payments, the smart way to move your money globally. And we thank both for supporting conversations that inspire action and business intelligence today. More in the description. Before we dive in, remember, only 18% of viewers of this podcast actually hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. So be part of this 18%, and I'll really help us grow and bring you more inspiring conversations like this. So go ahead, click like, subscribe, and let's get started. So welcome back to this 305 Office Business Intelligence, where we have these strategies, stories, and innovation. For today, we got Alexander Paz leading the mission to empower the homeless community in Miami-Dade County. Thank you very much, Alexander, for being here. How are you today?
I'm doing very good, Simon. How are you?
Very good. Thank you. Really thankful for your attending to this podcast today. So let's start with what led you to dedicate your career to social impact and community leadership. Was there maybe a defining moment that made you realize this was your purpose in life?
Well, my journey to Chapman Partnership has been one of kind of altered courses in my professional career and professional development. I am a hospital administrator by training, so my journey started in organizations like Cleveland Clinic, Miami Children's Hospital, spent some time at the school board of Miami-Dade County running their healthcare education platforms. But what really drew me into Chapman Partnership is one day I got an invite to tour the facility. I had no idea the type of work that was being done at our facility and in facilities across the country that serve the same mission. So the answer to that question for me is that I got proximate to the situation at hand. And I took a lot of my original biases and kind of those stigmas that surround the word of homelessness, and I came to realize that the folks that we're serving are our neighbors, our coworkers, our families, our friends that are just perhaps having a rough financial situation in their life, which is very easy to fall into in a city with high cost of living like Miami. And ultimately, that's what made me really decide that I wanted to make this my life's work.
And well, that's really powerful, and is a reminder that leadership isn't just about results, but it's about responsibility as well. And for those who may not be familiar with Chapman Partnership, could you give us a clear picture of what the organization does and how they help people move from homelessness to self-sufficiency?
So I'll paint the picture of where Miami was back in 1995. This Saturday, actually, October 25th, we are having our Illuminations Gala at the JW Marriott, and it's all in commemoration of our 30th year in existence. So back in 1995, Miami was facing a situation with about 9,000 individuals sleeping on the streets every night. This was men, women, children, everything that you could imagine because Miami had not established a true network, a true social safety net like the Homeless Trust. So Mr. Alva Chapman, which is our founder, and Mr. Chapman was the chairman of Knight Ridder newspapers. Within that role, he was the president of the Miami Herald for a very long time. He made it his life's work to combat problem that is homelessness and the issue that our community members face. So it was a lot of work. It was tied into the Hurricane Andrew recovery. For those of you that were around Miami in 1992, 1993, you realize what a kind of watershed moment that was for our community because we were forced to rebuild. And Mr. Chapman was tasked by President Bush at the time to lead these coalitions to rebuild Miami in general. But within that opportunity, he said, this is our chance to do something about homelessness. So within all that, the Homeless Trust was passed. It was voted on by our community members. And as part of the Homeless Trust, Chapman Partnership was established. Chapman Partnership, we operate two homeless assistance centers in Miami-Dade County, one in downtown Miami, one in Homestead, and every night we have 800 clients that are staying with us. We are a little bit different to a mission model because it is a comprehensive program. So we don't offer walk-in services. You have to be referred by one of the street outreach teams. So there's folks every day out in our community that when they see someone either sleeping in their car or perhaps on the street or things like that, they go up to them, they ask them what type of support they need, they ask them some basic questions, and then they are referred to Chapman Partnership. What do we do
So it's
here?
not
Yeah,
it's not just a shelter. So it's a
much
complete
more.
system designated to rebuild dignity and opportunity, right?
It's an ecosystem that we have built with community partners where we include elements of case management, mental health, physical health, employment assistance, education. And we're fortunate to count on partners like Jackson Health, who is on site, Miami-Dade County Public Schools, Miami-Dade College, Career Source South Florida. So what Chapman Partnership is that within an individual's length of stay, which is around 3 months, you are completely rebuilding every aspect of your life. We also have a huge focus on our spiritual life and wellness program because a lot of the mindset shifts come from within. And then you are more open to taking us up on the resources related to employment and housing and education.
And also, I think stories maybe make the numbers real. Alexander, could you share one of or two examples of individuals or families who have rebuilt their lives through Chapman partnership programs that
Yeah, so we have literally we're fortunate that we have hundreds of success stories out in the community. We are not an organization that kind of just always puts that out there because we are dealing with people's lives and then people are very private. So the fact of becoming homeless is sometimes a traumatic event rather. You don't want to talk a lot about, but some of our clients really want to go out there and kind of share their story, share their past, and share their resilience and perseverance. The latest has been part of our new initiative, which is called CP Works. And what CP Works is doing is that we are, as an organization, we've gone out into the community and secured property maintenance, property beautification contracts. The first of which being the Underline. It's the urban park that goes along under the Metro Rail. And we're providing general services for them. So we're employing our clients. CP Works employee number one is a young lady named Marie. And Marie had been at Chapman Partnership for a while. And she was doing everything that was asked of her by her case manager, going out there, going on interviews, getting her documentation in order, saving what little bit she can. But for some reason, when she went on the interviews, She would either get nervous or a little bit anxious, and she couldn't land the job. She came to us and she says, "I have been on over 30 something interviews and I can't seem to land." And she was facing a real, almost a crisis, because when you're facing the situation that our clients are facing, you don't see sometimes that pathway to success. So we went ahead and hired her into CP Works, and we are incredibly proud to say that since we hired her in May into this transitional employment venture, she has gone back to Miami-Dade College. She got her unarmed security certificate, which will make her incredibly more marketable in the job market, and she has also secured housing. So she's been living in her own apartment for the past 2 months. She is our most valued employee at the Underline with CP Works.
That's incredible. And also a proof that this structure plus compassion is equal transformation in life. And many are our audience are entrepreneurs, executives, and small business owners as well. What are some practical ways they can partner with partnership, whether through hiring, volunteering, or donations, or wherever?
My standard answer to that, and it's an answer that I learned from Scott Hansel, our CEO, and it's simple: get proximate to the situation. This is a community that we all share. It is a community that is doing a lot better in combating homelessness, the issue that is homelessness in our country, than a lot of other communities. You go to places like Los Angeles, New York, Portland, Austin. Those are examples of communities that have kind of not gotten into it, not gotten proximate to the situation, and not gotten involved. What I recommend to entrepreneurs, businesses in Miami-Dade County and anywhere really, anywhere that you're listening to this, is go to the organizations that are doing the work. If you're sitting in your business and you say, "Gosh, there's street homelessness outside my door, it's impacting my bottom line because people don't want to visit my business anymore," or if you're a hotel and you're like, "My city is no longer popular because of this issue that we're facing," go to a Chapman Partnership, tour the facilities, meet the people that are receiving the services, and see what little bit you can do. Sometimes it's the slightest thing that can make the largest impact. So let's say I own a bakery in downtown Miami and I really want to learn more. Maybe I have one job that I could offer the case managers at Chapman Partnership that they could market to that one client who becomes that success story. And if we multiply that by the hundreds of partners that we have, that's the reason why we have the lowest per capita street homelessness in the country, right here in Miami.
AI revolution. What's your take on that, Alexander?
AI is an interesting phenomenon that has really come online post-pandemic. There are a lot of people that are fearful of AI because in all actuality, we've been seeing a progression for a long time of, self-service scanners at your supermarkets. When you check into an airline flight, it's no longer a customer service representative. Basic entry-level work, which is where a lot of us got started, those college jobs or those little part-times that got you some spending money in the pocket, or if you're an immigrant, a lot of the immigrant family's first job is at a supermarket. So that just forces organizations like ours, and honestly, it should be placing the individual in a place of we are being forced to innovate. How do you innovate? You need to look at what's going on around you, and you need to be able to participate in what's going on around you. The next decade's entry-level job will not be centered probably around customer service. It'll be centered around elements of technology. So the entry-level jobs will still exist. They will just be, IT help desks instead of, checking out at a supermarket. So that's why, and you mentioned my role with Chapman. We actually have an excellent director of community relations. Her name is Candace Miles. I oversee the education and workforce development. So when we talk about that is what we have to do. We have to partner with our local school systems, our local colleges, our local universities, and our local businesses. And I have to go to our largest employers in Miami-Dade County and say, "What do you need that our clients can do for you?" The Underline came to us and said, "We have a need for elements of horticulture." That's something I would not have guessed. So we partnered with Miami-Dade College, established a horticulture apprenticeship, and now we can participate in that. If I go to a casella, they'll tell me I need folks that have entry level skills in technology. So we'll partner with the City of Miami Opportunity Division and get curriculums around that. So that's a long way to answer the question on AI, but I think it's something that's on a lot of people's minds, not just at entry level work, at middle management and upper management. And my answer is you got to adapt. You got to innovate.
And for the Chapman Partnership, maybe today there's new initiatives, maybe goals. We talk Florida, hurricanes, all these kind of thinking about what's bringing to the community and taking care and looking for our numbers, and on the side of having to think about this, prevent this. What's the take for Chapman Partnership on the side of the events of hurricanes and so on, what it looks like for you to take care of that side of the community that can be affected for that.
Very good
Mhm.
question because, Chapman is a refuge during normal times, during normal weather. We are a place where folks go, and we are that social safety net. So when it comes to adverse weather events like hurricanes, if you live in Miami, everyone's always going to say hurricanes or flooding. But people don't realize that our summer heat is just as dangerous. So we have anytime that you see that there's a summer heat advisory, which means that the temperature is just incredibly hot, Chapman Partnership does open its doors to all community members on a temporary basis as long as the heat advisory is in place, and we offer water, a place to stay, and that level of support. We do that in collaboration with the Homeless Trust and their outreach teams. We do the same, and it seems almost contradictory to our thinking, but we have cold weather advisories in Miami, which is any time that the weather, and we'll be approaching that soon as we head into winter, gets below a certain degree and it becomes dangerous for people to be out there in that cold. We also open our doors. In the events of severe tropical weather, we have very well established emergency management plans. We partner with local schools that become storm shelters in case one of our facilities were to be damaged. We have protocols in place. We have emergency electrical generation systems. We have well established contracts with food service providers. So we're proud to say that we give it a lot of thought. We have since the beginning, and we'll be well suited to weather the storms.
It's important to really think of that, and actually have this in place. And also for from the side, Alexander, for volunteering with you guys, you have some programs. I see the libraries here in Miami, they have many programs which are very good for the homeless community, and we see engagement with that, some kind of partnership with libraries in this county. Myself, I want to volunteer with you or make something to educate.
Absolutely. So we run an entire volunteering division dedicated to handling those requests. As a 30-year-old organization in Miami-Dade County, we're very fortunate that we have a lot of folks that want to come to our facilities and volunteer, but we could always use more. We could always be showing our mission to a new population. My recommendation there is that if you are interested in volunteering as just a citizen of Miami-Dade County and you're not sure what you want to do, go to our website, chapmanpartnership.org. We have a whole section committed to volunteering. There's a questionnaire that you'll fill out, and one of our volunteering specialists will be reaching out to you. We run several orientations where the different programs are outlined and kind of the requirements are hashed out and folks are registered. We also have the element of corporate volunteering. We have a lot of corporate partners, your banks, your health institutions, your local customer service areas, your local hotels. They will take entire groups of their own employees and have dedicated service days where they build into their leadership structure that service is important, and they come to our facilities and they do beautification, they do meal services, they do career corners for our children. There's all sorts of things that can be done, and we're very flexible to the needs of our volunteers, and can always have a conversation. So please reach out.
And also for you, Alexander, and maybe to thinking about the culture, community, and education. What's a good book for you, for your in your career, that you recommend in the side of the helping others or the social work?
There's a book that I read recently that is one of those books that you kind of read and you say, okay, these are lessons that I'll learn for the rest of my life. And it was recommended by a person I really respect. It's a book named Anam Cara by an Irish poet named John O'Donoghue. John was a very special person. He passed away recently, and he passed away at a young age. I believe he was in his mid-40s. But there was so much wisdom there as far as being present, as far as realizing what's going on around you, and as far as having a natural connection to other people, to other souls. There's a lot of emphasis in that literature about the sacredness of the soul, and how you can really feed that and feel more engaged through connection. So definitely I would highly recommend that book to anyone that wants to, get into this field and do more for their community.
Talking, Alexander, right now in the current environment for tariffs and changes in the economy, there's somehow on the Chapman Partnership, with some kind of economy changing and so on. Is Chapman Partnership affected with that?
Well, the answer to that is, when you are a nonprofit, you're always vigilant over changes in governmental funding and themes of what's being funded. So we are always trying to stay a little bit ahead of the curve. That's the reason we have our gala coming up this Saturday, October 25th. That is a private fundraising event where the community comes together and helps us out with, private donations, corporate donations. But we have an incredibly strong finance department that is looking at the shifts in government spending, and always bringing it back to our mission and aligning it with our core values of doing the best we can by our clients, doing and securing the funding that we need, whether it's private, through grants, or through government support, to make sure that we're able to put those families in housing or put those young individuals back into the employment force. So we always ask for the community's help. If you go to that same website, chapmanpartnership.org, there is a page where you could help out with any you can. It's a donation portal, and I always say it's money well spent.
Alexander, and also in the technology right now is changing so rapidly. We talk about that early in the podcast, and also, but the trends. I think with the digital currencies and so on, our communities between the new economy first, and second, the art, the music, the theater. There's some programs right now in Chapman focusing the art and focusing the technology on those programs.
Absolutely, and we think that is incredibly important. At any time at Chapman Partnership, we operate what we call our family resource centers, which are our areas for the children, where we do after-school work, where we do academic enrichment, where we do mentorship, mental supports. So you've got those 200 kids that we need to determine a curriculum for. And over the course of this past summer, we teamed up with the Children's Trust. We teamed up with Miami-Dade County, the Department of Cultural Affairs. We also teamed up with the Florida Grand Opera, the Arch Center, the Bass Art Museum. And we are exposing our children to elements of STEAM education. A huge part of STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, is that arts component. And part of a well-rounded individual is to be able to enjoy that, to be able to do that themselves. We want our kids to do creative writing. We want them to sing. We want them to dance. And as part of that curriculum, we want them to go out into the community on these field trips and enjoy what that brings. So seeing an opera, seeing a play, going to an art gallery. Those are the moments that we're creating for our kids, because you never know which moment is going to change that child or that teenager's or that 50-year-old's life. It's all about moments and mindset.
Alexander, so grateful for your visit to our podcast today, virtual visit. Also, last message for our audience today.
Sure. I think the last message is one of gratitude. Chapman Partnership is incredibly thankful to our neighbors, to our community, and help us keep it going into the next 30 years. Like I said, come visit us, get involved, get proximate.
What was the address again for your the core here in Miami?
So you can find us at 1550 North Miami Avenue, right
Okay.
behind the school board building. But you could, the easiest way to get in touch with us is through our website, chapmanpartnership.com.
Great. Thank you very much, Alexander. Thank you for your time. And thank you for being there in 305 podcast. See you in the next one.